All right, everybody, welcome to the 2 p.m. Sales Espresso Shot. Thanks for coming. If this is your first time here, my name is Skip Wilcox. Today we're going to be talking about selling with confidence. There I am. I'm the guy in the picture as always. If for some reason I'm not connected with you, scan the QR code on your screen. I'd love to hear from you. All right. So, as we all know, first timers, repeat timers, here's what we're going to do today. We're going to take 15 minutes or less. And we're going to talk about selling with confidence and how to build confidence, what it really means. All right. And the goal here, as it is every week, all right, is to get you to sign off on this in 15 minutes or less with something actionable that you can use today to better help grow your business. I don't care if you're in banking, real estate, mortgage, or you sell widgets, got to do it with confidence. All right. So, since we're already on the clock, it's 2:01, let's dive right in. So, first and foremost, we got to build some competence, right? So, what does that mean? Well, that means we got to learn about what we're actually doing or selling before we can sell it. All right? You got to know your product. You got to know it inside and out, all the possibilities, that kind of thing. But I'm going to go into something because there is a bit of a caveat. There's a little bit of a nuance here. All right? You got to know your process step by step because as salespeople, we've got to be able to guide our customer through that process, right? And third, you got to be able to handle objections. You know what? Because you can, and for those of you on the call that may have been in part of my prospecting boot camp, we know that we can classify every objection into one of three categories. And out of that, you only really get a couple, maybe two, three, four of actual objections. The rest of it is stuff that is just simply something we've got to work through. Okay. But before we move on here, I want to talk about the concept because building confidence obviously is key to building confidence. But I do want to throw out the idea of the 50% rule. And some I've seen this be 40%, 60%. While it does say know your product cold, I want to look at this more practically and say we also have to realize that we're never going to know everything. Most of the people on this call today are going to be mortgage professionals. You're never going to know every single guideline, right? You're never going to know every single loan pricing adjustment. If you're bankers, you're never going to know every single limitation in your loan guide. You can't do that. It's just simply not possible. And frankly, it's not your job. But what we have to do is build up the confidence where you know your product well enough to hold an educated discussion about it. All right. And this is something I see a lot of people use as a way to hold them back because they feel like they've got to know. They get an underwriting guide, they feel like they're sitting here studying guidelines. They got to know it all backwards, forwards, cover to cover. And they use that as a reason to not go out and sell. Say, I don't know this. You know what? Because they don't have the confidence because they are overestimating the amount of knowledge, workable knowledge that you have to have. And of course, we can't go into this today in too much detail because of the time constraint. But if you're struggling with confidence out there, or you got a team that's struggling with confidence, be sure that you are asking them the questions to try and discover, like, hey, is this an issue of because they don't think that they know enough? And if it's true, then hey, how do we fix it? If it's not true, then hey, how do we say this is how you're going to move past it? All right. So yeah, you got to be competent. All right. Too many salespeople out there are too full of it. They go out there, they make empty promises. They oftentimes will throw things out there, and then their ops team is left to clean up the mess. You can't do that. You can't do that. That is not a recipe for long-term success. And a lot of you on this call are thinking, I can think of like a handful of people right now that are completely full of it, that are considered relatively successful. But guess what? That's not all there is to it. It's also a function of how well and effectively you can help people. And I'm sorry, you're never going to be able to help people as effectively as you can if you don't know your product, your process, and you don't know the most common objections. All right, so keep that in mind. Moving on. Let's reframe rejection because that's really what this is all about. People don't like getting rejected. They don't like the negativity. They tend to take it very personally. And it can wear you down. Now, reframing rejection as feedback is going to tremendously help you uh, build and grow over time because one of the key ways, and I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but one of the key ways that you're going to build confidence is by doing. Okay. And if you do, you're going to get rejected. If you get rejected, and it's not really if, when you get rejected, use that as feedback. Say, okay, what could I have done differently on this? All right. Track your conversion ratios. And for those of y'all that may not know exactly what a conversion ratio is, it's essentially think of it as I've talked to 100 people and I ended up doing business with 20 of them. All right. So then your conversion ratio of conversations to customers would be 20%. Okay. Well, not a ratio, but percentage there. Um, and track that because you know if it's going down or it's staying stagnant or it's not where you want it to be, you try some new things and you're going to start seeing that. And guess what? As you start seeing those numbers rise, that is going to build confidence. So track your conversion ratios. All right. I don't care if it's 10 to 1, 2 to 1, whatever it is, you got to know it. And if you don't have it, if you're brand new and you don't know it yet, start tracking it. All right. Tracking your numbers as a salesperson, regardless of what industry you're in, is a different conversation for a different day. But this is the number one or one of the number one ways to increase your confidence. All right. And focus on your effort, not emotion. It stinks getting rejected, told no, hung up on, gone, hey, spent some time with somebody and they go work with somebody else, all this kind of thing. You can't get emotional about it. It's easier said than done, right? Because we are human. People say, oh, you can't take rejection personally. Well, I mean, unless you're a sociopath, you're going to take it a little bit personally, okay? You may have gotten a little calloused over to it. You may have some realizations that it's really more about them than you, or that, hey, maybe I didn't present it in the most effective way, whatever the case. It's not personal, though. But it's very easy to feel that way. So, what we have to do to build confidence is say, okay, I made 100 calls today. I'm just throwing this out as an example. Made 100 calls, and I got some rejection. I got yelled at once or twice too. I got told to piss off a couple of times. That's fine, but I made those 100 calls, and I know based off my conversion ratios that that's going to start to pay off. And I also know that that gave me a lot of feedback, a lot of things that I can use to get better. So let's start off by reframing that rejection as well as working on our core competency. Okay. Visualize your success. Visualize your success. This is actually one of the things I talk about repeatedly in a lot of my different trainings is visualization of how interactions and conversations should go. You got to mentally rehearse before a call. I don't care if it's literally you take 5 seconds before you dial a number, before you get on a webinar, before you do what you got to mentally rehearse. What do you want to have happen during that call? How are you going to dictate the conversation to get them to where you can best help them? All right. We got to replace the self-doubt with positive self-talk. Now, this is a tough one, especially for my folks that struggle with confidence. This one is really, really, really tricky because you say, I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant to get on the phone. I'm hesitant to go to this meeting. I'm hesitant to put this presentation on because I struggle with X, or they're going to feel, or they're going to ask me a question I can't answer, that kind of thing. No, you focus on what you can do. Focus on what you can do because, yeah, you may not know everything, but you know an awful lot. Yeah, you may not know the answers to some of their questions they ask, but guess what? You're going to know the answers to a lot of them. And so, kind of drawing that line and say, hey, everything over here, yeah, I don't know and I may struggle with, but guess what? That's not, or let's not forget what came before it, all the positive stuff that you do know. All right. So, anytime that you're struggling with that, don't forget the positive self-talk. It's one of those things that it kind of gets watered down a lot, but I can't emphasize it enough. All right, and the power of positive visualization. Right, picture the client saying yes, and then take that yes and think about it in your head, reverse engineer it, work it out. How did that conversation start? How did it go to get them to yes? And just visualizing it will take you a very, very long way. All right. Next thing should go without saying, but you know what? We're going to say it anyway. Serve, don't sell. Having that service mindset. Shift your focus from just getting the deal or the loan or the home closed or whatever it is. Take it off of that and have that as a foregone conclusion. Now, of course, I don't mean ignore closing dates and that's not what I'm saying. But take your eyes off of that. And if you've done your job properly, you have spelled out and or discovered your customers why. Why are they doing this in the first place? And if you focus on that like they are, you're going to find out that um, you're going to have a whole lot more success. And obviously, a lot of success will, of course, breed confidence. Shift that focus to helping somebody else, to helping them achieve their why. Yeah, it's our jobs to get them from point A to point B to C and so on to closing. But how we do it and our mindset along the way is going to pay huge dividends. All right. And as part of that, ask questions to uncover pain, uncover their why, uncover everything. This is a huge, huge part of my prospecting boot camp is how to ask the right questions. But if you're not asking questions and you're just sitting there, kind of just taking the bare information down, or you're not really trying to get to know the person, to know the other party in this transaction, you're not going to be able to serve them. All right. It's the difference between an order taker and a maker, right? Is a big difference. And confidence equals the belief that you can help. One of the things I try to tell everybody that I train is we have got to have the mindset that if person A, B, or C does not take your call, take that meeting, respond to that email, call you back, whatever the case is, that they are doing themselves a disservice. All right. So I want y'all to realize that again. The other party, I know that what I've got is of value or I can help them. Okay. And I know this. And we've got to approach it like, hey, if you don't take a meeting with me, you're doing yourself a disservice because I know what I'm good at. I know what I can help you with, and I know that I've got answers or can get you to the answers of your problems. So keep that in mind as you're going throughout your day, guys. And like I mentioned earlier, we're going to train through action. Doing it is going to be the easiest way. Repetition, trying different things. Role play daily, whether it's yourself in the mirror, whether it is with a coworker, whether it's somebody like me as your coach or trainer, spouse, friend, it doesn't matter. You can even record yourself with your phone, but role play daily. Hone your craft, okay? Because that is the number one thing that I hear is I don't know what to say. Well, yeah, you do know what to say. You just have a lot of stuff going through your head that gets in your way. So if you role play it, you're going to get down exactly what you want to say. All right. Review your recordings. If you record yourself, your phone calls, your presentations, whatever it is, review them. Nobody likes the sound of their own voice. I get it. Nobody likes the way they look on camera. I get it. But if we are going to get better, look past it. And that's the best piece of advice that I can give you is, there's no amount of, oh, no, your voice isn't that bad, or no, you look great. Okay. No, 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 no. Get past it. You got to actually get to what you're doing. All right. And reflect weekly as you've gone through your job and you've got a good sample size to kind of think about what went well, what didn't go well, what could I double down on, what do I need to throw out. Reflect weekly. Daily's good. Daily reflection is one of the things I teach all the time. But when it comes to this, reflect weekly. Think about, hey, okay, what did I do this week? All right, so I made X amount of calls, so on and so forth. What worked? What didn't? Did my results meet my average? Were they below? Were they above? If they were above, hey, why? If they were below, why? Reflect on that, guys. I can't emphasize that enough. Take 5, 10 minutes at the end of a Friday. because I know y'all don't want to work anyway, Friday at 4:30. So take that time to reflect. All right. Okay. That's all I got. I am at, ooh, look at that. I am right on time. Y'all, next week I'll be back from Mortgage Bankers Association annual conference, and we will have our 2 p.m. sales espresso shot. Until then, talk to you soon.